Well, hi there. I'm Diana Montford, the world's first transgender television journalist. Born male, became female. I always have to explain that. Otherwise, people say, what direction are you going in? Anyway, I'm non-binary. There, that solves the problem. Anyway, every year at this time, we do our tarot reading. Tarot cards, and we try to divine what the coming year will bring. Well, this is 2020. I love to say that. It's so baba wawa. This is 2020, and we are going to embark on our 30th year. This is my 30th year on the air. And we have our all-time favorite tarot card reader, teacher. She teaches tarot reading and all that. Ms. Sylvia Chappell, and here she is.
Thank you, Diana. It's always great to be here.
And it's always great to have you here. So, just a quick overview. What exactly are the tarot cards, and how do they divine not necessarily the bedrock future, but possibilities?
Okay, it's a good way of saying it, possibilities. And it would be, the tarot is encoded wisdom about the human journey through the earth, through our earthly experiences. And I have learned to use my intuitive sense, which is my soul sense, to interpret what comes up and to work with the cards, and to bring forth useful information and about the opportunities, the challenges, what's coming up in the year. It's kind of like a weather forecast. And I do always say that nothing is written in stone. And for a tarot reading now at the beginning of 2020, what we're looking at is a snapshot of the influences that are out there, the energies surrounding this year. And so when the cards that come up give a snapshot of that, and then things can change. And usually my approach to the tarot is when I see a challenge, a card that represents a challenge, or something I'd rather not create for myself in this year, then I want to know why that's coming up and get to the root of that within me, and then heal that or clear that, so that I don't need to face that particular challenge in this year, and I can create something more benevolent.
How do you heal it or clear it?
Well, that gets into other things about our own individual, what we do to develop ourselves, and how we grow and progress as souls, and how we recognize, or I would hope that the journey for me is that I am learning more about who I really am. And that means that I'm really a soul, a spiritual being, having this finite human experience, so that I can learn things, so that I can express more of what I would call my soul self, my God self, my divine self, because we all have that connection.
And we choose to come to planet Earth, don't we?
We do. We do. That comes out in the Akashic Records readings that I do as well, that it's a choice, and often those of us who are incarnate now have made a choice to be here at a time of tremendous evolution.
May you live in interesting times.
Exactly. And we somebody said, well, would you like to live in the most interesting times in the history of the earth? And we said, of course, sure. What do I have to do? Where do I sign up? Or we were a little more reluctant, saying, well, I'll do it if this is going to be my last time that I have to experience this particular type of earthly experience, meaning third dimension, polarities, extremes, people pulling in different directions.
Is this your last earth life?
I think it can be, if I choose. That's probably the subject of an Akashic Records reading.
I see. Anyway, shall we read the
Okay.
tarot cards and
So-
see what the future holds?
Okay.
Now,
yeah,
this is for the entire world or our nation or what?
I would phrase it as those who are concerned, or those who are watching the show, the audience, everybody involved with this show, those who have the curiosity about what energies are coming up in 2020. So let's just say it's us.
Okay, all of us.
All right.
Whoever's watching this show.
Yes.
Yes.
So in your capacity as representative of the show, I'm going
Yes.
to ask you, as I have done before.
Cut the cards?
Well, actually, no, it's not necessary to cut the cards, but if you would say your name into the deck.
Diana Montford.
Okay, thank you. And for the show and
The
everyone
Diana
watching.
Montford Show.
And everyone watching.
And everyone watching.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I'm going to do a little shuffling, which is not too easy with these large cards. And just so you know, while I'm shuffling, I will multitask or try to. And
Why
note-
are they always so large?
Well, these I use for display. The cards that I use in private readings are smaller.
I see, those are so they can be seen on television.
Yes. So I've already, before the show, I've set my intention that the information that comes through is from, the way I phrase it is the highest, holiest source, and that it comes through my higher self, which is to make it free of the bias that my personality self has, and it's for the highest and best good of all concerned. So, okay, so now I do a cut, and I'm going to do a spread that is 5 cards, and the position of the cards has a meaning as well as the actual symbolism of the cards. So let's go with, all right, and I'm going to stick them to this board. The first card that I drew, the Magician. Okay, so this is what we're working with. This is what the tarot is saying are the influences that we have. And I'm sorry, I hope I don't cover you.
My best angle.
So, and I am going to need to see it to point,
Oh.
to know what I'm pointing to as
How's
well.
this?
Okay, so let's hope that's going. All right, so the position here, the first card that I put here is in the position of being the overall message from Spirit. And the overall message from Spirit, in this case, is the card of the Magician. And that's about, basically it's about creative beginnings. The number of the card is 1. The Magician is someone who creates from, you can see with the hand, he's drawing from Spirit, from above, and then pointing down to the earth, where there are representations of the earthly elements and the earthly forces. But his inspiration is from the spirit, the spiritual world, or higher consciousness. And he is one who creates with skill. So this card in this position says to me that we will have many opportunities to create something new, and to do it, we hope, with skill, and to do it for higher purposes, rather than just the lower vibration of the magician is that a magician tricks you, or a magician manipulates things to get their own way. But this is about the higher.
That is so strikingly apt for a certain politician.
Okay, well, you know me, I'm not going political here at all.
Okay.
I'm seeing that we might, the card is saying that this is a major opportunity to create something new, to create something that is lasting, because there's an infinity symbol over the head of the magician. But the most important thing is to notice that the path of this flow of creativity is from divine inspiration or higher consciousness, passing through the heart, and then that's where creation that happens with love creates the most benevolent and beneficial outcomes for everyone. Okay, so there's a lot of promise here, a great deal of opportunity. There's some challenges here. I'm moving to the card that is in the position of conscious influences, things that we are aware of, and the card on the opposite side is subconscious or unconscious influences, things we're not so aware of. And you can tell by the pictures here that there are some challenges, especially with this one here, the Five of Pentacles. So over here on the left is the Four of Pentacles, and this card is one that it encompasses a lot of meaning, and it can be interpreted in a very positive way, and it's in the suit of Pentacles, which is about resources. It's literally money, but it's also talents,
I'm
resources.
going to rest this on here.
Yes, thank you. Things that you value. And the Four is, there's a certain ambiguity about this figure. It can be read as a card of someone who's a miser, who's clinging on to everything, all the coins that he has, or another interpretation, equally valid, is philanthropist, someone who is very generous. And so the key to this card is recognizing that one creates from within and creates from a sense of self-worth. I mean, true self-worth, about not just the external or the materialistic self-worth, but true self-worth, who we are as souls, who we are as beings who can be divinely inspired to do great things. So that's what I would say for the Four of Pentacles, that we'll be presented this year with many challenges about things that we value and whether we know that we are able to manifest abundance in our lives from within. So I'm looking ahead. We have 3 Pentacles cards in a row. So there's a lot about values and resources. Then on the opposite side...
Excuse me, does that mean that we're going to get resources or lose resources or what?
It means that we will be... The learning point here, I believe, is that we're being challenged to look at what we're creating from within. Like, what is our relationship with money or abundance?
Would that be our nation or the world or what?
It could be our world as well. We could look at, and I'm looking ahead at the Five of Pentacles, which is a card of about believing that we lack, that we don't have anything. It's sort of a woe is me card, because the figures here are quite miserable and they're tromping through the snow. They are focusing on what they lack, like basic shelter and health and material things.
Would that be the great homelessness problem in our nation?
It is. It's certainly a facet of that.
Yeah.
Yes, but what they're not seeing is there's a window that looks like it could be a church or synagogue or temple window with a stained glass in it, and that's where all the pentacles are in this card. That's where everything of value is, and what's encoded here is a sense of spiritual impoverishment. So, and that's in the unconscious influences. So I think that there's a lot, and I'm going to get back to the Ten of Pentacles, the Eight of Pentacles in the center. But what I think about this card that it's coming up is that these are some of the old patterns that we've been living in a world where there's a belief that there's got to be a lot of poverty, or some people have a great deal and a lot of people don't have very much at all. So is there a way of the magician to create a whole new belief system about our individual and our national relationship with resources, with funding? Is there more funding out there?
Did we
it be
bring
distributed?
all these economic hardships onto ourselves by, they say one creates one's own reality. Did we somehow make it so that people are homeless?
That's an interesting question, because we are creating our own reality, but I think what's going on here with this card about lack is that we have been programmed to believe that there's not enough.
And if we believe there's not enough, there isn't enough.
There isn't. Then how do we don't even really learn so much about how to create abundance. I mean, there's no class in 5th grade that says, okay, now we're going to teach you how to create abundance in your life. So it's something that has been going on so much in the background that we really haven't even questioned some of the basic principles, or the basic what's the right word, the basic tenets, the basic structures and institutions that,
and the disappearance of the middle class. Why were we on the upswing in the 50s and now we're on the downswing? Was it because in the 50s we believed we were, on the upswing, and then,
I think some of the programming has been going on, and it's been to program us to believe that there are highs and lows, that there are crashes, mm-hmm. and that there isn't enough of the resources that we need to live a good life, or that there is inequality encoded into our belief system.
The capitalistic system?
Any belief system. I mean, I think this is kind of worldwide. But I think what's important is that this is an opportunity to change that, because once it comes out into conscious awareness of what powerful creators we are, when we use the qualities of the magician in the right way, or the highest and best way, to find out how powerful we are as creators. So I'm going to move on to the card on the bottom, which is the card of the Lovers. And it's interesting that we have 2 major arcana. The major arcana are the archetypal cards, and the other cards are the suit cards. They're more about earthly forces, and the major arcana are about the overarching or spiritual forces. So the card of the Lovers is in the position of where we are now, mm-hmm. and maybe the next steps to be taken. So the card of the Lovers can be about love in the material world. And there are some symbolism here that relate to the Adam and Eve story. Yet the card transcends that, because there is over the male and the female polarities or energies is Archangel Raphael, or considered the archangel of the sun, and the sun is behind that. And the sun is in the tarot, and in many traditions is a symbol of abundance, of good fortune, of benevolence, of good things happening. So why would this card be here? I think in this reading it's more symbolic, and it talks about unity. And it has a lot to do with unity within and harmony within. And that would be within the polarities within us, and that would of course include the masculine and the feminine polarities. So this ties in with the magician at the top. In fact, they're both ruled by Gemini, which is all about the mind and thought patterns. And I think that there's a sense with the lovers of that there can be a transcendence, that one has got to be better than the other, or one has got to be dominant, or one has just favored over the other. And this does tie in with the fact that in our culture, one of the things that I believe that we're working on is restoring the qualities of the consciousness such as that are considered feminine, such as the intuitive, and restoring that to its proper place and working in harmony with the intellect. So when we're able to achieve that within ourselves, or within our country, or within our community, then we're healing ourselves. We're healing those of us who have wounded masculine within us or wounded feminine within us. We have an opportunity to heal. And so that's what's tied up here with this card. It's just a challenge to look for unity instead of what divides us.
Mm-hmm. So overall, what shall we put this down?
I can also want to just talk maybe like this, mention that this card in the middle is the outcome card, and here we are back in Pentacles. And this is a very positive resolution of challenges with values. It's the Eight of Pentacles. There's a craftsman here he's making money, actually. He's making the pentacles and doing it with great skill. And he's building a better life with resources. The number of this is 8. 8 is a symbol of rebirth. It echoes the infinity symbol, the sideways 8 over the magician. So I'm always happy to see this card, especially as the outcome card, when there are challenges in what's represented by the suit of Pentacles.
So what does that mean?
That means that we have many positive forces helping us understand that there are more resources out there. There are more things of true value. And
will our country be more economically balanced?
There is a possibility with that, yes.
Will there be some kind of civil war?
I don't see it here. There could be some pull and tug over the financial system and who runs that and who benefits from that. That's can be tied up in here, because people who don't think that there's enough are always trying to grab more, just like when you grow up in a household and you think that love is in limited supply, you feel that you need to go into behaviors that are not that beneficial in order to get love, because it has to come from someone else. Sorry for my little 5-cent psychology here.
So basically, each person has to realize that she or he has to attract abundance, and then altogether, that's abundance for everyone.
It is, and to be one of the readings that I have my students do is when I teach them about a relationship spread, I will often ask them to do a spread about what is your relationship with abundance. And that can be an eye-opener, too.
Do they? Well, all right. Now, I've known people who felt that money was bad and rich people were evil. And, even though consciously they wanted money, they did not get it, because some subconscious thing was saying, don't do it, it's bad,
Yes, there can be a lot of programming like this, but...
And we're almost out of time.
Okay, and the magician is saying it's time to question all that programming. And time to look at finding harmony within.
And if people would like to study tarot with you, or get a reading, how can they contact you?
My website is sylviachappell.net, SylviaChappell.net, and am happy to do readings, and will at some point figure out when I can teach a class.
So ultimately, there is hope for our country and the economic inequality we see all around us, which, as I understand it, is as bad now as it was during the Gilded Age.
Evidently, yes. We're quite extreme. One thing I wanted to mention about the lovers is I've been working with another client on a project where we're doing some healing about the masculine and the feminine.
Make it fast.
Okay, forgiveness is key. Remember, in the card of the lovers, we've all been rich, we've
Whom
all
are
been
we to
poor.
forgive?
We're to forgive ourselves and to just invite in divine forgiveness for any relationship that you're out of harmony with, including your relationship with yourself.
Okay, and so altogether there is hope, and will we be in a better place at the end of 2020 than we are at the beginning?
I'm going to just very quickly draw another card. Okay. Ooh. We have the death card. Okay.
The end of one system and the beginning of another.
Yeah.
It's not death like people are all going to die.
And I want to know, whenever I draw the death card, it's about transition. So I always want to know what we're transitioning to. So if you could hold that up.
Okay, what are we transitioning to? What does that say?
The Queen of Pentacles is...
Queen of Money.
Yeah, absolutely. Abundance for all. And she is known as the answer to prayers. So praying for...
In other words, the end of the inequality.
Yeah.
And a wonderful...
new system.
Exactly. Anyway, my guest has been tarot reader and teacher, Ms. Sylvia Chappell. What's your website again?
It's sylviachappell.net.
And she's available for readings, and she teaches classes. And I'm Diana Montford. This has been the Diana Montford Show. I love you a lot. See you next time.